I'm gonna ask a crazy question here, and you guys have obviously done the work, but it obviously has to do with healing. And it says, does healing play a role in being in a healthy, committed relationship? Now, I'm gonna add something extra here because the word healing gets thrown around a lot, right? Heal, 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 but nobody can unpackage what it actually looks like. So on this podcast, I don't want us just to throw the word around. I want both of you ladies to answer the question. If we were to unpackage the word healing, what does it look like on paper?
Okay. Did you want to go first? I'm so sorry. I'm like eager.
I love the fact that you guys are flustered by the questions, but go ahead, Aubrey.
Well, I think healing is digging through trauma that each and every one of us carry from their childhood, from their adulthood, from previous relationships, and actually learning to work it out and let it go, so as to live as less as possible with us, to become a better version of yourself. Be happier every time you look in the mirror. Just aim to be a better version of yourself. That's what I do every day. It's an ongoing work. It's not when you get to some point, okay, I'm perfect. It's not. There's always challenges. There's always things that every one of us want to work through and get and let go. So I think it's important process of becoming a better version of ourselves every single day.
I like that. I like that. Marie?
Yes. For me, healing definitely relates to trauma. And I want to also define what trauma is for me is anything that hasn't had resolution or integration. So anything that, we always think that trauma has to be a big, big event, but sometimes it's just the simple things of not being able to have processed something. So, and a lot of the work that I do is going back into childhood, going back into any time of my life that I wasn't able to process a certain moment, and taking the time to allow that part of me that still lives in that traumatic moment to have that assistance. So a lot of the times what I reflected is that people, and I see it in others too, but realizing in myself that a lot of the times I treat myself the way other people treat me.
Okay.
And that was something that a big pill to swallow, because realizing that sometimes the things that, were harsh, that were done harshly to me, or like judgmental and things like that, sometimes I would treat myself that way, subconsciously or consciously. But going back and having resolution for that little child, that little me that had that moment of feeling alone, not feeling heard, not feeling understood, and just being like, maybe nobody understood you, but I do. I know what you've been through. I know what you've lived. I know that maybe nobody else understands you, but I know you, and I got you, and I love you, and you're valuable to me. So bringing that soothing and that healing, the same that I do for other people, but like bringing it inward and doing it on myself, putting myself as well, giving time for me and sitting with myself and giving me that type of healing. I think that's what healing is, integrating and not just abandoning a part of ourselves, but healing it, hearing it, saying you are valuable somewhere, somehow you have a story to tell, and I want to hear it.
I like that. Aubrey, is there anything you want to add before I...
No, I think you described it fantastic.
I think you guys give fantastic answers. And I actually want to add something here. I think healing is self-awareness. This is just what it is for someone like myself, right? Because a lot of times, let's say you say, I'm a very blunt person, right? You're very direct. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, you could just be a flat out asshole. So the self-reflection would need to be is maybe you need to work on your delivery to people and how you speak to them, and be a little more nurturing, be a little more understanding, because there is a time and place for tough love. But maybe you feel like how you deliver yourself, because everyone will just say, well, that's just how I am. maybe you feel you had to put on that tough persona to be heard. So it's coming from a place of hurt instead of a place of, I'm speaking not my truth, because I don't like to use that, but more of a sense of I'm speaking from a place of peace. So these are things that I've always had to look at, because myself as a man, sometimes I get told my delivery, Michael, you're an asshole. And I had to look at that and say, you know what? Maybe they're right. I had to do the inner work and say, you know what? I need to deliver my messages in maybe better, more subtle ways. Still being direct, but talking in a way where it's not like belittling the person, making them feel less than. So again, these are all things for me that I think are including in healing, because that was part of my healing, because I used it as an excuse just to say, well, that's just how I am. Take it or leave it. If you don't like it, leave. But again, I'm not retaining any friendships. I'm not retaining any relationships when I just come off blunt all the time and rude, instead of saying, you know what, this is a person. So for me, that was like a little cornerstone of what I needed to work on to heal. Now, obviously, there's other parts too, but I think we all have parts that we need to look at within ourselves to say, maybe I could do better here.